And you're very welcome along to another edition of TippCast with myself, Shane Brophy of the Nina Gargan, joined by Noel Dundon. Noel, you were in O'Connor Park last Sunday. Tipperary comprehensive winners over Offaly. I thought maybe going up and maybe the team that was selected, maybe a bit of a banana skin, but very professional and kind of ruthless performance, particularly in the first half against the Breeze. Like, probably when a lot of the donkey work was done, and I suppose was padded out a bit in the second half.
Yeah, I suppose the first thing when we got into O'Connor Park, we realised that Offaly wouldn't be starting. I think it was 4 players that didn't start, or 3 were the 3 changes they had before the ball was thrown in at all, including Adam Screeney, who I think a lot of Tipperary people were probably going to see, particularly just to see how he was developing in that. So that was a big blow to Offaly, whereas we went as selected. And yeah, it was an interesting first half. We were under a bit of pressure there on the full back line for periods where the long ball seemed to be causing us a bit of bother until we kind of got to grips with it. So the first half was competitive enough, and we just got the scores. Jason Ford in particular was leading the charge there in attack, with coming in with scores at a time when we really needed them. We were against the wind, and it was quite strong too. It was very evident right down the middle of the field. You could see it in the puck house very clearly. But we went in at half time then with a 2-12 to 110 lead. The goals being crucial, of course. Penalty goal, which was maybe a little bit harsh on Offaly. It was difficult to see it in real time. Whether or not there was a man back to prevent the tackle, to prevent the player moving on and taking the score when the pull down was initiated. But be that as it may, Tip went in with the lead, and I don't think there was any doubt in anybody's mind coming out for the second half what the outcome was going to be. So it was a very clinical performance. I think went up, got the job done, came away with the win, with the points. A number of more players made their way back. Some of the newer players got a bit more game time. So I'd say all in all, it was a very happy bus on the way back across the border.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and I suppose it is the unfortunate part of probably these early season games where, you have the impact of the Fitzgibbon. I'd say Tipperary and Offaly are probably the 2 most impacted teams, and I suppose in fairness to Offaly, they just don't have the next backup of players to be without the likes of Adam Screeney and a few more. We saw how good Screeney was on Wednesday night in the Fitzgibbon Cup semi-final for you. Well, he was the best player in the field. But I suppose it's probably a few years down the line before maybe we'll see the best of that Offaly team. But I suppose in terms of back to Tipperary, I suppose great to see where Jason Ford started off where he finished last year, 3-10, very clinical. I suppose an early start to see John McGrath back, but and Noel getting minutes early in the campaign compared to last year. I wonder, is it a sense of maybe looking ahead to this Saturday, or is it a sense of looking at the whole campaign that, okay, we can't afford maybe to have lads coming back too late. Like we need to kind of hit the ground running. I would say maybe the Cork game on Saturday and the Limerick game on the 21st of February. If you not trying to get into Liam Cahill's head and the management's head, if you were to pick 2 games that were being targeted, those were probably the 2 in the league.
Yeah, the middle 2, Shane. Really, yeah. We had a nice start to the league. We had Galway at home, albeit the conditions were horrendous on the night as it turned out, but we got the job done there. And then we had Offaly away, so it was a nice start to the league. A very strong possibility of claiming the first 4 points on offer, which we did do. Then you have the middle third where you've got Cork on Saturday night down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, which is always a big test, and Limerick coming to Thurles. So those middle 2 games are very important. And I'm not sure of the kind of mindset of the management team either in terms of how they're going to get game time into players. But like after this weekend, we're halfway through the league, and you're going to have to start getting game time into some of the more established guys who haven't come back yet, or who haven't made their appearance. And like you'd be talking about, say, the likes of Owen Connolly and Michael Breen, I suppose, will come back into there too. Joe Caesar's injured at the minute, so he's kind of in the recovery mode, as is Ronan Maher, who's still recovering from surgery. And they're probably the big players. Like Jake will come back in, I'm sure too, at some stage. They're sort of the big names that we're talking about, really, Shane. Whether we go with some of those guys on Saturday evening in Cork, I don't know. I think my sense is that they have a plan as to when they're going to bring in these guys, all these players. John McGrath might well start down in Cork. Will he persist with the likes of Cathal O'Reilly, a cornerback? That'll be a big test for him now. Playing against the Cork full forward line, or will he go with somebody more established? Robert Dial, of course, is injured as well, so you'd say Cathal O'Reilly has proven to be almost a perfect fit for Robert Dial, as cover for him there. So the Cork game is a big game, but I don't think it won't be a total disaster if we don't win it either. We've our business done from early in the game, and if we can pick up another couple of points between this and the end of the league in the remaining 3 games, we'll probably be there or thereabouts in the qualifying stages. I think in this Cork game, there's a lot of pressure on Cork, because everybody seemed to think that Cork lost the All-Ireland last year rather than Tipperary winning it, and this is almost like the replay of that All-Ireland, although we all know that it's far from it, and in fact, if you go back to last year's campaign, the kind of the popular opinion was that Cork had the upper hand on us throughout the year, whereas in fact we won a league match and won the All-Ireland against them, and they won a league match and won the Munster Championship game against us. So it was 2-2, So it's not to be all and end all on Saturday night. I think the focus will be again on getting game time into players, getting them up to tempo. And this game on Saturday night will be probably as close to championship as you'll get, barring you head on to play in a league final or something like that,
Yeah, just maybe just touching back, Noel, on last Sunday, and I suppose maybe you were there, and a couple of players that maybe were talking about, like Josh Keller. I didn't spare the highlights. There wasn't too many highlights in the telly. I listened to the radio. His name seemed to be mentioned a lot before he went off at halftime. Was that that's like he really is. There's something about him, like, isn't there? Like, in terms of his role, like, he's very athletic. He'll just get on the ball and carry it and lay it off to the guy in a better position. But I think he got some sort of a bang that he was forced off at halftime.
Yeah, and I guess that was precaution rather than risking him staying on. But to be honest, Shane, I think he had probably done enough up to halftime to really put his hand up. He got on an awful lot of ball, as you say, but his use of the ball was very intelligent, and he nipped in for 2 points as well. And I think he's a player who has kind of grown since Nina progressed into county championship last year. He has really grown and taken on from that. I think he's kind of has grabbed this opportunity with both hands. In fact, we had a very sort of a rangy forward line on Sunday. We had, with Garrod O'Connor and Paddy McCormack and Josh Keller, all big, tall men and able to win ball in the air. And then I was
going to mention Garrod. He's kind of the forgotten man of the panel. Like, he was 2 years ago in the championship in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. He was outstanding. Just lost his way a bit last year. How did he look to you last weekend?
Yeah, I thought he looked a little bit under pressure, a little bit nervous, maybe. The kind of a guy who kind of realizes that this is his chance. And maybe he was a little bit nervous in that early on, but he grew into the game as it went on. I thought, finished it out as well, and chipped in with a score. Did some really good things, some really positive things, and then maybe, as I say, lost his way a little bit with nerves from time to time. But I definitely think he has something to offer. Like we kind of forget, like Garrod started in that league final last year, down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and had a good league campaign all the way up to it, So I definitely think there's a role there for him. But maybe
I
a
think
little bit like
it's a confidence issue with him. I do like he has, like when he burst onto the scene, like we saw how effective he was, and
yeah.
I think it's, well, if he gets a good run of games and starts playing well, I think we'll see him thrive. It's just getting back to that level again.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Shane, that this time last year we had Jason Ford coming back into the scene, who had come off the back of a poor campaign in 2024 and looked as though his confidence was kind of shot. And in lots of ways, Garrod is kind of in the same boat this time around now. But a couple of good games behind him, and he'll be flying it again. I think a big point as well where Garrod is concerned is that he was taking the frees for Tip in the year before, and that, and knocking up a few good scores and that, and that helps confidence as well. Whereas last year he wasn't. Last year we had Darren McCarthy on the frees, and Jason Ford took over then when the need arose. So Garrod wasn't in that frame, and that can kind of affect a player as well at times, because when you're taking frees, you're more involved in the game and all that. But yeah, I definitely think judging, but I thought he looked really fit actually on Sunday. He's not a player who carries excess weight by any manner of means, but I just thought that he was sharp. I recall one break where he went right down through the middle and tossed off the pass for a score, and you just kind of think, yeah, that's the Garrod O'Connor that we saw 2 years ago,
And I suppose we were chatting last week about Jack Leamy and how the Galway match just didn't run for him. I suppose we were speculating, would he get another chance? He did. Got 3 points from play. And I suppose credit to the management. Like some managers would think, oh, that was your chance, you didn't take it. He was given another opportunity. Look, whether he starts against Cork is another thing, but I guess it was, in terms of getting his confidence back going again, it was the ideal opportunity, wasn't it?
It was, and to be honest with you, I was glad to see him getting that chance and glad to see him taking it. I mentioned Jason Ford in relation to Garrod O'Connor. I kind of mentioned him again in relation to Jack Leamy, because he reminds me a lot of Jason in his early days. And coming from an intermediate club as well, like that, it takes a while to make that step up, and you're getting into inter-county senior company, and it takes a while to settle in that. Jason was like that too, like when he came into it, and well, we know what a magnificent player he has been for Tipperary and continues to be. And I would just hope that whatever management team is there, obviously Lehman lads at the minute, that they would have patience with Jack Leamy, because I really think he has potential. He struck 3 points, I think, last Sunday, and was very clever in the way he, when the chance arose, he took them. And I think that's the key for any forward trying to make your way into a team. If you get a chance, have a go and get your name on the board, and that helps your confidence, and it kind of instills confidence in the management team, in your abilities as well, and in your teammates, that they'll throw the ball around to you a little bit more, maybe. So I think it was a good outing for Jack last Sunday, and it certainly keeps him in the frame there. Whether he'll start on Saturday night is a big one down in Cork, I don't know. We may be going a little bit, maybe with more of the tried and trusted, perhaps.
Yeah, just I suppose turning ahead to Cork, and as we record this, the Tipperary team hasn't been announced. But by all accounts, like reading this morning, Friday morning, 27,000 tickets sold as of last night. So you're probably thinking up to around 30,000. Like, it's like I haven't I haven't looked forward to a league game as much in a long time. I just think the atmosphere is going to be special. I think you're going to have two teams and two managers who will send their teams out to win. Would it be a disaster if Tip lost? No. If we come out the wrong side with another heavy loss on Lee's side, maybe there'll be a bit of pressure. But I just think this is, you're thinking in terms of what's coming down the line potentially. Definitely coming down the line in April 19th to the first round of the championship. I just think neither team will want to give the other the upper hand, psychological upper hand. And like, we've seen a bit of spikiness from Cork already in the championship. There's been a bit of spikiness from Tip in a few games where maybe the other team is kind of maybe being overly aggressive. We see lads in like Collar O'Reilly coming in and like getting involved. So when I was looking at the fixture this week, I was thinking this needs a good solid referee, and I see Liam Gordon is getting it. I think he's as cool as a breeze. So I think the Croke Park have definitely identified we need a strong referee for this one, because I just think it's probably not going to be far off championship atmosphere, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think you're dead right. Like, and nighttime makes it that little bit more sort of intense as well. Like, with the floodlights and all that, I think it helps to create that atmosphere. As you know, Shane, Páirc Uí Chaoimh is brilliant for atmosphere anyway, and the Cork supporters are coming in their droves for this one, as they have done for all their league games. I mean, like, again, we're going down to Páirc Uí Chaoimh, where we'll be severely outnumbered, I would think. But I don't think that'll bother the management team, and I don't think it'll bother the players either. I think it's all part of the development of the team. I don't think it did us any harm last year, and it's easy to say that now, looking back in hindsight. I mean, after the league final and after the championship first round, I think we would have been concerned all right at the way things were going, particularly given the way things had gone in 2024 when we shipped a few heavy beatings as well. Now I think we're a little bit more mature in our thinking and a little bit more mature in our development as a team. I think that they'll go down to Cork, they'll tear into Cork. I've no doubt about that. I think it's one that Tip would relish winning. To win that game would be a tremendous boost again. To lose it, not such a disaster. To get hammered mightn't be the best thing for us at this stage, but I think there are caveats with all of those. Winning down there would be just really, really good. To lose, not a disaster. You're saying right, we're still in the development phase, we have our points on the board and whatever, and if you were to be beaten roundly and soundly, well, it's the Cork effect again, and I think we'd be harping back to last year and saying, look, we know how to bounce back from this thing, and it's not a major deal. We get back on the horse again for the week after against Limerick, and that will be the important one.
Yeah, I'm fascinated of the Tipperary team that we're going to see, and like we don't have the team to hand. Like I would think we're going to go as strong as we can, but I'd also, there's a few caveats. The Fitzgibbon final is next Wednesday night. Would you, Oisin O'Donoghue, Darren McCarthy, Aaron Morgan, Adam Daly? I think Joe Caesar's out. I think he's injured. Probably. Okay, if it was me, I wouldn't be playing him. I don't, even with, like, I'm sure Darren McCarthy, after probably the 2 difficult days he had last year, would love to go out there, but maybe for his own, he might be as well off sitting out this one. In some ways, it'd be similar to Donegal and Kerry last weekend, when Kerry had no Jack O'Connor. We're not exposing David Clifford to Donegal to give him a look. I wouldn't be exposing Rhys Shelley to this match either ahead of the 19. Like, I'd be keeping Rhys Shelley's armory of puckouts in my pocket for the championship match, rather than giving Cork a chance to maybe see how to set up against them on Saturday night. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe they will go with Rhys, or maybe they'll go with Brian Hogan. Maybe he'll give him a run in this game, since Barry Hogan got a game last weekend. Those selection issues will be fascinating to me in terms of their thought process.
Yeah, and something, it's an absolutely brilliant scenario for the management to be facing, because they have so many options. And even just, you mentioned the goalkeeping option, like whatever goalkeeper we decide to go with will almost dictate the way we're going to play. Yeah. And that's the fact that you've got 3 goalkeepers, 3 top class goalkeepers, all have different qualities. It means that they're almost your plan A, B, and C, aren't they? I'm not sure what they'll do either. My feeling is that the Fitzgibbon guys won't be played. I think they'll probably be given the chance to. I mean, Liam referenced after last weekend there on Sunday, the importance of the Fitzgibbon Cup to those boys. And to their colleges, like, you probably
think that Sam O'Farrell and University of Galway have locked out. He probably will come into contention, and I thought he was very, very good Wednesday night. I thought there was a lot of Noel McGrath and how he played in the half forward line, and he missed an awful lot of shots, but like shooting, I wouldn't have said he was a lad for shooting the lights out, but maybe a third level, he's given that bit of latitude. But I think probably think maybe the lads that maybe lost last Wednesday would probably get a chance even to start, or maybe just come off the bench.
Yeah, and I mean, even we talk about getting game time into players and getting them up to tempo and all that. Like, if the boys are playing in those Fitzgibbon Cup games, like they're at that tempo already because it's as good as inter-county, really. So I don't think they'll be worried about getting minutes into the legs of the fellas that you've referenced there. But like Cork. Going back through the years, even has been a tough place for Tipperary teams to go, and you really need to have a fair old dose of experience mingled with your newcomers, if you like. So I think that's the way we'll be going. I think we will see probably Michael Breen coming into it. I think we'll see Jake probably coming into it as well, to add that little bit of spice. We might see John starting the game, John McGrath. So I think those guys will probably come into it and add to the strength of the spine of the team, if you like. And there will be the sprinkling of newcomers, like Conor Martin did nicely now last weekend, I thought, as well.
I think he's kind of one of the Fitz guys too. I think he only commands a sub for UL, but I'm sure. Yeah, there are, I would say, the likes of Conor Martin who probably would love to play in a game like this for maybe Dara and Oisin O'Donoghue, who we know will have a big role in the summer, thinking if we don't pay in this one, we're still going to probably play against Limerick anyway, because the Fitz will be over at that stage.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you take last week, Dara Stakelum came on as well, did well, got his score, and Peter
Conor Stakelum's had a great start to the year, hasn't he?
He has a great start. Yeah, 3 points again from midfield last Sunday, and was very, very busy. I like the partnership he's forming with Willie Connors. I think it's a very energetic middle third there for us with Connor and Willie Connors right in the thick of it. They get through an amount of work. They're very busy all around the field, like getting through a huge amount of work. And I think one of the things that they're really good at is linking backwards as well as forwards. Like, you traditionally, I suppose, our midfielders were the conduit to the forward line, get the ball out of the back line and deliver it up. But it also works the other way, where you win ball in the middle third and there's no option to go forward. Sometimes you've got to go back to Brian O'Mara in particular, was the recipient of a lot of back passes to them, and then he acts almost like the quarterback to deliver the ball forward. I think both Connor and Willie are very good at recognising when the time is right to drop back with the ball rather than to just drive it up aimlessly into the forward line,
Absolutely. And I suppose just turning to Cork, and like, what did you make of Ben O'Connor's comments after the win over Galway? I thought they were odd, but I actually thought a lot of what he was saying was directed at his own players. It was kind of, he was using that interview to keep that this is a reminder of who we are now. Like, in terms of how Cork are playing and working the ball around, it's still the Cork team that was there last year, but there's definitely an edge to them. Look at the free counts in both their matches so far. Like, they're conceding a lot of frees, but they've won their 2 games. Like, so, like, there definitely is more of an edge to how they're going around about things, and that's why I think there could be a real spikiness to this match on Saturday night.
Yeah, there's more of a bite to them, isn't there? You can kind of see that in the way they're playing, that there's more of a bite and an edge. And that's probably coming as well, Shane, with the kind of pressure that's on them, like there's ferocious pressure. I think they're favourites to win the All-Ireland this year again, which is a bit strange, but there you go. And that brings this pressure, and that maybe, they're being told, look, we need to have more steel in us and all that. And sometimes that steel can just tip over the edge, and you end up giving away more frees. Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think that the interview that he gave was probably more, it was almost like as though he was talking to his own lads rather than talking to anybody else and using the media to do it, which is kind of strange in a sense, because we're always told that all the players don't read the newspapers, or they don't watch the Sunday game, or they don't whatever, which I think is a load of rubbish. I think they're well tuned into what's going on. They're all intelligent guys, and they have it on their phones if they're not actually reading it or watching it live on TV or whatever. So I think, the message would have gotten across to his players all right. And I think that message would be very strong for Saturday night. They'll be saying to themselves, look at, this crowd are coming down here now. They're all Ireland champions. Will they give them the guard of honour going out onto the field?
I don't think they have to. Like, I think
I doubt if they will. I doubt if they will. But look, in saying that, the relations between Tipperary and Cork are top class always, and remain that way. The players are always very gracious, as are the supporters and that. But it doesn't mean that when the ball is thrown in that there won't be sparks flying. And I think we could well have sparks, because if Cork decide to bring that edge to the game, well, Tipperary won't back down either.
No, definitely not. And it does have, like we've always been great rivals with Cork, but I don't think probably since the Babs era, that 90 or 89 to 92, 93, kind of the rivalry hasn't been as hot since then. Like, I'd like to think maybe this is going to be the start of maybe a 4 or 5 year spell where that rivalry is going to really kick back into action again at its peak.
Yeah, I suppose, Cork were in the doldrums for a long time, and
we were when they were flying it, we were in the doldrums.
Exactly, so. Yeah. So now we're at a situation where we're both at the peak, really, and going at it. And I mean, like, you could almost have said back in the late 80s and early 90s period of as you referred to it as the Babs era, that whoever came out of Munster between Tip and Cork, there was a fair bet that they were going to win the All-Ireland, at that stage. Galway had a big say around that time as well, of course. And we beat Kilkenny ourselves in 91 then when we came through. But, like, if you won the Munster final, if you beat Cork and won the Munster final in that era, you had a fair job done. It was a time when the Munster final really carried a lot of weight as well, I think. Maybe now, you don't have to win a Munster final. You don't even have to get to a Munster final to still have a big say in the All-Ireland series. Our rivalry has grown and grown. And, we met in under 21 minor a little bit as well, like, which kind of has enhanced that. And a lot of those guys are coming through now to be meeting in the senior grade, like so. And then as well, Shane, I suppose, the fact that Páirc Uí Chaoimh has been redeveloped into such a magnificent stadium, and it's the kind of place where you can really pack in 40,000 odd people, and you'll have
that bowl too. It traps the noise too.
It does, yeah. Although I suppose the nostalgic in me would have always loved the old ground. Like, there was a tremendous atmosphere there and always a great view, no matter where you were in the place.
I know. I'm really looking forward to this one on Saturday night. Cork and Tip 7:30 in the National Hurling League. It's live on RT and live on Tip FM as well. So fascinating to see how that one goes. Noel Dundon, thanks for reflecting on the Offaly game, and we'll probably see you at Páirc Uí Chaoimh on Saturday night.
Thanks a lot, Shane. Will do.
And you're welcome along to the latest edition of TippCast with myself, Shane Brophy of the Nina Garage, and joined by Gary Toohey of Cover TV to look back on last Saturday's Harty Cup final victory for Nina CBS over St. Flannan's College of Ennis. But before we do that, Gary, we're recording just as the Tipperary team was named for Saturday night's should be an epic game with Cork. Talks of 30,000 people in Páirc Uí Chaoimh and 5 changes from the win over Offaly. So I suppose Rhys Shelley, Sam O'Farrell, Jake Morris, Oisin O'Donoghue and Dara Staken all come in. So, like, he's I suppose no sign of Ronan Maher or Michael Breen, and I suppose John and Noel McGrath on the bench. Like, and as Darragh McCarthy's named on the bench, like, he's really going as strong as he can. Like, this should be very, very enticing stuff now on Saturday night.
Yeah, sure, Shane, with the tickets alone, sure, it's going to feel like a championship match. Like, we're go to 30,000 people there on tomorrow night. I'm actually here in Cork City at the moment, so I might stay down here try to get a good parking spot. But surprised they're talking with you off before we went live. Like, Oisin starting there after playing for UL the other night, that was a slog. inside Newell in that Fitzgibbon Cup semi-final. So tough for Oisin to come out now again tomorrow night. Dara obviously named on the bench. I think that's probably the right thing. Obviously, we know the Cork fans will be fairly boisterous now against Dara tomorrow night.
It's probably going to be a lively start, I think, and you're probably better off hold Dara out of maybe things will have settled down in the second half by the time he comes on as well. So, and like he does the Fitz game, I just think it's a smart move, I think, by the management.
Yeah, sure. Look, listen, Liam's first rodeo. He knows exactly what he's doing. Like if Oisin is starting, and if it wasn't the whole Cork, I suppose, reception that he'd be getting, he probably would be starting. But no, listen, it's great to see such a strong team be named. And again, Cathal O'Reilly getting his chance, Johnny Ryan getting there again. You were saying there about Reese as well. I think you're dead right about Reese. I thought maybe Barry might have been in goals. It gives obviously Cork the opportunity now to see Reese's puck outs, because obviously that was kind of the game changer from last year. So no, listen, come here. This is like, we're looking here the first week of February, and you're already feeling the heat of April. The fixtures are released there this morning at times and dates and everything. So this feels like a pre-championship match already. So no, looking forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah, but on the flip side, I'm saying about thinking about Reese is that Reese has never played Cork in that atmosphere. Barry Hogan got the games the last few years down there, and I say the Munster Championship fixtures are out, and while Tipperary are at home to Cork, if it's a Cork Tip Munster final, it's back in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. So just I suppose if that, and there's a decent chance that could be a final pairing. So given that Reese the experience of that white hot atmosphere in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, as you said, 30,000 people potentially there on Saturday night. It won't be far off championship intensity and championship atmosphere. So really looking forward to that. But I suppose, Gary, the reason I have you on is to reflect on the Harty Cup final. A brilliant atmosphere in its own right last Saturday lunchtime, 7,000 people there, and we got a brilliant game and deserving champions in Nina CBS, their second title in 3 years.
Yeah, Shane, listen to it. It was absolutely class. I rocked up to Ennis around 10:30, 11:15, went for a coffee for behind the stadium, and you could see the colour from the Flanagan's there already. And then shortly walking up then to Cusack Park, then you see the Nina crowd coming with their banners and their scarves, and like come 11:30, they're like, there was hundreds and hundreds of people already taking their seats inside the stadium. And look, you know yourself, you were up in the media, we were up in the gantry, and just hearing the roar of the Tulla pipe band was absolutely class. And
can't beat a pipe band.
Yeah, you can, Shane. Look, these boys will go on to play county finals and play Munster finals with clubs or counties and things like that. But one thing, like, so I got to play a Munster Brief final. We didn't have a pipe band back in my day, 20 years ago. So, like, for me, that lives long in my memory. And I've been around a long, long time. And I've been to Munster finals or Ireland finals. But with the two ultras and the smoke going up and the flares and the banners and Shane, which was absolutely class. And look, the game lived up to the billing as well. Like, I know 2 years ago was unbelievable. I think the standard of hurler and the physical attributes of all the hurlers as well. Like walking down the field afterwards, meeting the Nina boys, and some of them are bigger, wider. And it's just
the shape of Owen Duhan. Oh my God, like he's like, I know he's 2 years older than he was the county minors was. God, he's ripped, like he's actually quicker than he was 2 years ago. He's gliding over the ground, like he's definitely a guy that has been doing everything right in terms of his S&C.
Oh, 100%. And I look back in photos, and his mother shared a few photos from 2 years ago, and you see Owen, he was like this, and now he's like this, but it's like he's a full frame man now at this stage. And you have a good point there. Joe, he's very, not to put any pressure on him, but the pressure's going to be put on him anyway. He's very Darren McCarthy-esque in the way he kind of, his first 5 or 6 yards, the way he gets the ball, he shortens the hurley, the way he's able to step away from lads. He's really quick over the first 5 or 6 yards. And sure, I think that point underneath the old stand on the far side, where the two Flanagan's boys just kind of cut across each other. And Carbon copied in the second half, same story. Like he has it all. And the one thing I keep saying is with his parents Saturday evening, the one thing that will stay in his favour is his head. He's got the right mentality. And at this stage, with social media and Clubber now and the audience that all these young boys get, and I was with most of them now Saturday evening or Sunday in the homecoming, the mentality of these boys, they're all so grounded, Shane, and so important nowadays. It's easy to get carried away.
Yeah, and like I say, you have a strong links to Moneygall. I think like his free taking has come on a ton. Like he was the minor free taker a few years ago, but like he could miss 2, 3, 4 a game. He's not missing anything now. Like even his free taking is almost flawless. Like the only one he missed last weekend was one that was just outside his radar. Like he's just even that element of his game has come on a ton.
Oh, 100%. And he's going to get, like we saw in the first 15, 18 minutes, he actually didn't touch the ball from play. So in games like that, it's so important to be mentally zoned in when the dead balls come. The same as Dara. Dara gets completely man-marked nearly every game. The other night now with Joel, again, he was totally man-marked. He kind of played a deeper role. But when Owen went inside and then he lit up, but his dead ball, like when you take a shin, he came into that Moneygall team last year that won the county intermediate the year before. You've Joe Fogarty, one of the best free takers in the county for the last 4 or 5 years. You've Shawnee Keneally. You've Adam Hogan. All these boys, well accomplished free takers, and he just first round of the North Championship. No, I'm in taking the frees, and again, it's such an undervalued part of the game. You see TJ Reid, Jason, Paddy Horgan, like these boys. It's so important to have a dead ball special, and he's an 80 to 90% every day of the week. He is
absolutely, and I suppose back to last Saturday, like just to say, you could feel it building. Like I thought, okay, it was probably not ideal to have to play the final in Ennis, I suppose, against the Flannans team, but like it worked out better than actually Nina winning the toss and being in Thurles or in if it was a neutral venue in the Gaelic grounds. Just that crowd in a small venue, it just made it. And like I do think maybe in terms of going forward that they do look at grounds like Ennis or Mallow or Walsh Park or Parky Rin, like just. It's great having the marquee venues, but God, the smaller venues with a big crowd, it just adds something to it, doesn't it?
Oh, jeez, it does. And like Donnock was saying, I know he spoke with you in the garage, and I spoke with him after the game, and he was actually kind of delighted the game wasn't in Thurles. I think the pitch suited Nina better, and plus, you probably would have got 10,000 in Thurles. You probably would have got more, but 10,000 in Thurles, you're still losing a lot of that atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's like an old school English football ground. It's right on top of you. Yeah. And like even up in the gantry, you can hear every single word the coaches and selectors. It's fucking brilliant it is. And again, you've made a good point there. I think maybe Clare, Cusack Park in Clare, Parky Rin in Cork. I know maybe McDonough Park in Nina. Every county nominate a small tight arena like that, because look, it's great having their day out in Super Value, Parky Queeve or Semple, but it's a small. They're saying that small. It's still 18,000 people.
There'll be probably times where, just saying, if it's an all tip affair at Semple Stadium and 10,000, or maybe you'll get a good crowd, or an all Cork affair, you go to Parky Queeve or something like that. It's just said that I thought Cusack Park lended it to it. And look, we got a great game, and I suppose Nina had to earn it. Like I suppose just listening to some of the commentary on Flannans, they've had slow starts in games. They came out strong in this one, got up 8 points to 3, maybe could have been further ahead. But and I think this is one thing about this Nina team, there's never been an element of panic. They just worked their way back into it. They made their switches with, as you say, with Owen Duhan going to full forward, Patrick Hackett coming out. They put Darrow Dwyer back in full back when Tomas O'Connor was starting to get on top of Shane Cleary, and Shane Cleary came in more into the game at centre back. Like they're a very functional team. Like their central pillars are very interchangeable, aren't they?
Oh, geez, they are. And like Donnock made a good point there. I think we could have been speaking to you or someone after Paul Carroll. Like Emmett Jones was taken off the last day against Thurles. He had an unbelievable game last weekend, and it just goes to show the amount of lads who've had bad games and other lads step up. Like Paul Callahan has been unbelievable all year. I think he got 3-12 from play in the championship, had an off day against Thurles, still picked off a point, didn't score the last day, but he won a couple of big balls in the air when things weren't going Nina's way to get momentum. And it's like, you know, we were joking there Sunday night, actually, Moneygall, the homecoming in a couple of years' time, played a 24 team against a 26 team, and who would be win? Like, you know, you can see Arsenal being compared to United, etc. And it's one of the most balanced Hardy Cup teams I've ever seen. And just on Flannans, that was my third time doing their games this year, and every single game, bar one game, I'm up to the final. They were behind at half time. Slow start against Tulla, slow start against Templemore. They had a lightning start, and they knew they had to do it. They had a good few wides in the first half, and again, the momentum just slowly but surely got away from him. And then Owen got his 3 points in the first half, and that kicked off the whole show. Then it did. So again,
I was listening to the lads on the Intensive Clare podcast who would be following Flannans along, and like for them to say that was Flannan's best performance here. Like they performed on the day, and Nina still won it. Like it was that shows you the quality of the game and the quality of how Nina and how well Nina played and had to
Oh,
play.
100%. And like when you say, like, I've serious time for Darren McNamara and Tom O'Connor, the first 15-20 minutes, like Nina were being torn apart with that long ball going into the two boys. But
The
Nina
way
got their
they
shape.
killed the ball, like the amount of scores that just killed the ball down, like they're just like,
One handshake. Oh,
yeah.
It's an unbelievable bit of skill, and especially conditions as well. And it wasn't rain, but it was kind of drizzly that morning, so it was sticky enough. But like, I've great time for Pat Finneran there, centre forward, but Pat was playing a lot deeper centre forward, like a third man midfielder, and he wasn't really in the game. But he got an unbelievable point then, and that probably got his confidence up. And then straight after the point, he was taken off, and I was looking down at him, and he was completely bewildered. I was just wondering from a Flanagan's point of view, leave him on for 5 more minutes, see if the confidence gets up, because Pat Finneran, he's a linchpin between the centre back and Harry Doherty, Dara and Tom O'Connor. But no, I think Nina got all the matchups after they dealt with Dara, Mack and Tom O'Connor inside. They got all the matchups right, and Dara O'Dwyer was very good in the first 15-20 minutes when Nina were under pressure. He was attacking, coming out from full back line, got an unbelievable score as well. But no, listen, it was just a really, really good balanced performance from everyone. Owen will get the highlights, but minus Billy O'Brien, and I won't lie, and I said a good few people that morning, Shane, when I heard Billy was out, I was tipping the scale just slightly with Flanagan's. He's been that influential in Nina this year.
Yeah, and like it just shows you like they're not like that. They have probably a difference to the 24 team. That this team has way more depth. Like you thought, Hugo Healy slotted in there. Okay, probably not as prominent as he was when he came on as a sub against Thurles, but look, got through his work. It released Patrick Ryan back to the half forward line. So like actually, Nina didn't lose Antoinette when wing forward, like Patrick Ryan, Billy O'Brien. You're kind of getting the same player, really. Like it's probably in the middle of the field where maybe Nina probably. It'll be interesting to see how they structure it going forward. I know that they have more time ahead of the semi-final, and like you just say, Donnacha O'Donnell said like they gave 2 players their debuts in the quarter final, another in the semi, and then in the final. They bring KJ Dunn. Like KJ Dunn could have scored 1-2 and been the hero. Like, and you think, give this guy another 3 weeks, he could be starting the All Ireland semi-final. I wouldn't be like he was so good when he came on. Like
he is, and I've heard a lot about KJ. I've seen the odd underage game with Tuam, and obviously he stands out. That's my first time really seeing him actually, I suppose, at a higher level. And just meeting him at pitch side left, Shane, he's a big boy. He's 15 years of age, and for his age, he's nearly fully developed as it is. Like, and
like looking at the father in his prime, wasn't he? He's slight, has the footwork, has everything.
But that's it. And the one thing, do you know, as a sub, and I was sub plenty times down here to Mines coming on, you want to make an impact, but usually you get a few minutes to get up to the speed of it, running after balls. He was straight in within 5-10 seconds. 2 or 3 balls fell at him, and you're probably not ready for it. But he kept onto the ball 2 times. He had a wide, and then after that, the ball came back out, and then over the far side. He's 7 or 8 possessions in the space of 2 or 3 minutes, and he must have been absolutely wrecked after that. But I know, listen, and Dunnock, he's not afraid. Dunnock, Mark, and Jack, and Dara, and the lads, and Paul Butler, they're not afraid to bring a surprise. So if KJ started, I wouldn't be surprised. But good point there about Hugo, and like Dan McKelvey as well. Dan was on that panel 2 years ago. I played a lot of games last year. Started the first 2 rounds this year. And he wasn't getting game time. He got on the last few minutes, all right. So it just goes to show the strength and depth in that panel. It's the strongest thing in this panel I've ever seen.
And if you're performing and doing well, you get a shot. Like, and that's, you have to think the next 3 weeks coming up to the semi-final, All Ireland semi-final will be like if you're performing well, like you get a chance really. If you're training, like the training's going to go up at a serious level, like so.
Oh yeah, and Mark was saying there, like they have A against B in training, and the reason why this was the likes of the Ree McGrath and a couple of other boys got their minutes in the last 2 games because I'm hoping exactly because they've been forming, and it's very, you hear managers saying that the whole time, the A against the B's and all the competition. Most of it's nonsense, but I know for a fact with the lads inside it's the truth, and it's been shown on the field. It has.
Yeah, and like it was a game. I suppose I think I earmarked Joe Dwyer last week. I said this Ennis wide field and a good surface. This is made for him, like, and he lived up to it, like 2 points in play. I think 3 frees he won that end up in scores, like 5 point haul, like really, like he's put this, like he's a small guy with a lower center of gravity. Like he doesn't want a slow pitch, he wants a fast pitch, and we saw what he was like when he got onto a fast surface last week.
Yeah, sure. Look, listen, everyone knows his injury record there last year, and coming back, I remember sure against Kenny below in Jordan in the relegation semi-final on the field, 2 minutes got 1-1, and he just needed a momentum of games, and he had a quite semi-final, but a lot of lads had a quite semi-final. Templari, a tight feel, a lot of the game went by a lot of lads, but geez, especially in the second half, Shane, when it was tit for tat in the second half, that point underneath the main stand.
Like
Oh,
they got a point
jeez.
down of 17-16, like then the moment like that just wrestled back the momentum from that the Flannans were building.
Yeah.
Like, even if that
And that was
gone wide, like it's a puck out, they could have gone up and gone 18-16 up, and then you're in trouble. Like so.
Oh, 100%. I think it was only 48 minutes gone, so there was loads of time at that stage. And if, as you said, Flannan's got momentum after that, they could have kicked on. But no, he really stepped up to play. A delight for him. And like, I suppose Pat Hackett as well, another kind of unsung hero of this team. Like him at 14, like it probably didn't stick as much last week because he came out a bit deeper and he won a lot of ball out deep when himself and Owen Dunn swapped. But I think Pat has a really bright future as a proper 14, the old school 14, a 50-50 ball to Pat Hackett, he will come out with 9 times out of 10. And I've give big credit to Austin Duff. Like Austin 2 years ago, Austin, I was with his father there Sunday evening. He's proud as punch he was, but Jesus, from 2 years ago, he was this flashy corner forward, wanted to do all the tricks and all the skills, and now he's a dirty dog in the middle of the field. He still brings that flair as well. He scored an unbelievable point. He set up 2 points directly as well, but he's something different that Tip don't have in midfield at the moment. He's kind of a mixture between the dogginess of Shane McGrath and James Woodlock, but he also got maybe the hands and flair of Noah McGrath as well. Now, obviously, if you can make a hurler out of those 3 boys, brilliant, but he has everything that can curtail him onto a Tip senior. He's in with the Tip 20s, but he's been so pivotal to that Nina team this year, and he's the one lad who's stayed in that one position all year. And if you took him out of midfield, who'd you put in there?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose Nina, like 2 Harties in 3 years, like they have plenty to go after. Like it was said, Donald O'Donnell was saying in 2012 when they won the All Ireland, the Crow Cup, they weren't Harty winners. 2 years ago, they won the Harty but didn't win the Crow Cup. Like it's definitely incentive for them to go after, and like they will be. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the players and management are in Kilkenny on Saturday and then up in Ballinasloe on Sunday looking at the Leinster and the Connacht finals. I suppose for people who aren't maybe aware of the format, because there's no Ulster Championship, they alternate the 2 provincial champions that go straight to the semi-final. So this year it's the Munster and Connacht champions that go straight on. So Nina will be playing the winners of the quarter-final between the Leinster champions and the Connacht runners-up. So I think, Gary, you're working at the Leinster Schools final. I suppose the big 2, Kilkenny CBS and St. Kieran's, are on Saturday. It's like, and Nina will be going into it thinking like they're definitely not. I would say you're playing Kieran's or you're playing a big name. Like they're not inferior to these teams anymore.
No, not at all. And maybe that's what, like back in the day when I suppose Nina won it with Jason and that team in 2012. But look, they went on to win it, and like it's actually, I haven't spoken with Jason, but I guarantee it's something that man has won everything in the game and won with his club as well. I guarantee that's one thing that probably haunts him, that team, they don't have a Harty medal. And just speaking with a lot of the Clare boys and Jake Morris at the weekend, like it's one medal going into school. A Harty is nearly bigger than Northern Ireland, because you don't talk about winning a Crow Cup, you talk about winning a Harty Cup when you're in school. So Nina have now done both. They've done now 2 and 3 years. They'll want to do the double, and that will really sustain Nina CBS as a real hurling stronghold as a school. But yeah, no, I'm in Nolan Park there tomorrow. I've seen both teams this year. I've done a game each for them this year. The Kilkenny CBS overcame Mullingar in the semi-final. Again, they kind of only pulled away late on. They won by 5 or 6 points in the end. St. Kieran seem to have their number over the last 10 years. They seem to win these games by a point or two. It'll be a really tight fair again tomorrow. And from what I've seen, and I've done every single Nina game. I've done Flannan's 3 times. I've done both CBS and Kieran's. I think the 2 Munster teams are just a slight level above Leinster this year. Now, Raphael's and Athenry in Galway will have a different say. Raphael's are very strong this year. That's going to be an interesting game on Sunday. But I'd imagine we'll have nearly a second camera just on the 4 managers from the 4 schools in Nolan Park tomorrow to see where they are. But no, tomorrow will be intriguing, Shane. It'll be a big tell on where the Crow Cup's going to go.
Yeah, I know. I think you think that incentive, Crow Park and St. Patrick's Day, and like all that's with it, and I suppose it's something that Nino didn't get to experience a couple of years ago. And I'm sure, look, I think that they'll really go at it. Like it's like it's like the Harty is. It's probably like they've probably achieved their Everest, but like they're really going for the cherry on top now. And people might think, winning the Crow Cup should be the ultimate, but there's just something about the Harty. Like when you win the Harty, like when you're 40, 50, 60 years of age, you're able to show your Harty medal. And I thought it was an interesting thing that in the interview with Stephen Barry did with Darren McCarthy in the paper this week, that even like Dara, he's 20 years of age, brought his Harty medal at half time, produced it, like, and just like, even for a guy who's so young, he's still so cued in terms of that little motivational factor. And like they got the start, like maybe it worked, was got the first 3 of the first 4 points in the second half, and like that proved to be the winning margin in the end.
Yeah, you hear stories of these coming out of teams in the 80s and 90s and 80s, and this lad said this, and but when I heard, I was like, "Jeez, no, that didn't happen." But no, speaking to the boys at the homecoming on Sunday, and they all kind of got the butterflies in the stomach, and it gave them a right kick up with the backside for the second half. And it is small little nuggets like that. It's that grain of salt tipping the scale. And again, I guarantee Dara did that off his own back, and it wasn't told by Mark or Dunnach or anybody else. But again, it's a nice little story to have in 20, 30 years time when these boys meet up again, and the slagging that'll be going on. But again, you said it there. The Harty Cup is just iconic, Shane. It's just there's something special about it. It's like Munster. I know Lee McCarthy's the holy grail, but still, you could have 2 or 3 Lee McCarthys and have no Munsters. You'll always want that Munster medal. So, look, it's last Saturday was just a very special day for North Tipperary. 10 clubs involved, and then obviously Bursley winning.
Yeah,
so 14 clubs or 13 clubs in total were represented for North Tip over the weekend to win the medal. So listen, long may it last.
Yeah, no, that was probably a big one for you personally. Your former St. Joseph's Bursley man. They won the C final. They beat CBS Dungarvan by a point, and yeah, it was. Someone I interviewed, Patrick Ryan, on the Saturday, like he could have been playing in that C final, but no, he wanted to go after a Harty, and he transferred to Nina CBS, and he won it. And like he was quick to mention Borrisoleigh, so like I'm sure it was kind of a wrench for him to leave Borrisoleigh, but it just showed you the ambition he had to go and win a Harty, and it paid off for him.
Oh yeah, and I sound like I was with all the parents on Sunday, but I was actually with his father. He's a right character. He is Patrick's father. I was with him Sunday evening, and again, Patrick there was no poaching, nothing done whatsoever. He wanted to do it off his own back. He went to the parents, and he was obviously best friends with Austin and a few of the boys, and he wanted to do that off his own back. He did, but he mentioned as well on Saturday and Sunday about Bursley and St. Joseph and what it means to him as well, and like what a weekend it is for him. His school, his alumni really winning a Munster C, and he wins a Munster A. And look, it just goes to show the ambition of him. Again, he did it off his own back. There was nobody knocking on his door or making phone calls, off his own back. And look, it's after paying dividends. An All-Ireland medal in his pocket with Tip, a Harty medal with Nina, and possibly a Crow Cup medal now in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, and it's great for the likes of Boris, but like it's hard for those schools now. Like when you see the team you won the Munster B on in 2006, that Seamus Callan and Brendan Maher, probably the way the landscape has gone now. If you're trying to get on maybe a Tip under 20 panel, if you're in that area, you've probably got to go to Nina or a Templemore or a Thurles CBS, but like there's still a huge value in the success a team like St. Joseph's or maybe St. Mary's and Newport had the last couple of years, that they still have a big role to play too.
Oh, just Shane, to do, and like not to forget, Bursley won the Munster B in 2003 as well. Yeah. So Willie Ryan, who's the coach, is actually a cousin of ours. He captained Bursley in 2003, and he lost the All-Ireland final by a point in the end. But that team had James Woodlock, Paddy Stapleton. So like that's one of the reasons why I went to Bursley, because that team won. and they had a couple of county minors and 21s, and then sure, Shamey came over from Drum, could have gone to Templemore, could have gone to Thurles, but himself and Brendan were on that team in 2006. So, like, winning, it's unbelievable what it does breed success. So for Bursalee and what they've done over it, the work over in the school, Shane, the facilities are unbelievable over there. So Tip Camogie use the Astro as their training service base during the winter, but this will bring more young lads to Bursalee and want to hurl. It'll be Harty B now next year. So it is no, it's a delight for the old school, and it was a small bit emotional. All my old teachers out there, and Mr. Halpin, who's actually the manager of the Hart team, he was a coach or involved with us 20 years ago as well. So it's his younger he's getting, it's his older we're looking, but no,
I love the fact that you still call him Mr. Halpin all these years on. Like,
it's mad, and I still talk to some of the teachers on Instagram now and everything, and anytime I meet him, it's Miss Dignan, and it's Sir Daniel McKelvey's mother. She was my science teacher, so I still Marcella, and I still call her Miss at times. So it's just that I suppose it's a good thing on them, because the respect Bursalee gave all of us. It was great. It's a great school. It's a mixture of the kind of the cultures and the townies, and a lovely, nice little quiet area in Bursalee. But no, we still call them by their teachers' names anyway.
Yeah, I know. I think, and then they'll go after the All Ireland. I know St. Mary's and Newport won All Ireland C.
Yeah,
Community College won about 5 or 6 years ago as well. So like they have a lot to go after over the next few weeks. And I suppose if you're yourself, big game tomorrow for Silvermines, Munster Junior B final. They're playing Ballybrown of Limerick. I know it doesn't have a championship, I suppose, series as such, but for these Junior B teams to go and play in a Munster Championship and an All-Ireland series, it's nice for them, and like it'll be a nice occasion in Killeedy tomorrow when they play Ballybrown.
Yeah, Shane, listen, Killeedy, there's probably nobody from Killeedy watching this or even seeing this, but I have to say to them, what they've done in, I suppose, the last 5 or 6 years since it was set up is absolutely unbelievable. And the level, I suppose, club are getting involved in as well, and showcasing these teams, because like Junior B, when I was playing 20 years ago as a young fella starting out their journey, there was plenty of mulligan and rucking and hard hits here and there. Junior B hurling now, it's proper silky hurling, and we saw that against Thurles in the county final. And now conditions are tough this time of year, but no, it's brilliant for the club. There's a couple of big boys missing now. One, I think Hall Hogan is missing through suspension. I think Eamon Cork or somebody else might be missing. They're away at work or something. So a big ask missing the two boys, but it's probably the best Junior B team the club has ever produced. And it's All Ireland series as well, a chance of winning Munster and going on to an All Ireland against the Leinster champions as well. So no, look, it's a great occasion. Yeah, can't get down to it, unfortunately. The bills have to be paid, so to be in Nolan Park to get there, but I'll be watching that. I think we're in Nolan Park at 12, that's on at 2, I think, so I'll be straight into the car and throw it on the radio on the way home. So no, great occasion, great in Clubber there, great for Killeedy, it's great for Ballybrown as well, and yeah, fingers crossed another trophy is coming back to North Tipperary.
Yeah, I just noticed last night Newport GA Club, they are filling the void where there's no Munster Intermediate Championship, so they're creating a new Munster Intermediate Champions Challenge. So they have semi-finals. Obviously, the Waterford Intermediate Champions on Rin are playing the Limerick Intermediate Champions Moreau Bohor in one semi, and then the Clare champion Smith O'Brien's play Knockabilla Kickham's. Obviously, maybe Golden Kilfeacle maybe have opted not to take part, but they have the runners up and Knockabilla Kickham's taking part. So yeah, I'm sure that's obviously some Newport are probably trying to maybe create something like that. And I suppose for intermediate champions who don't have a route, and maybe at the moment, maybe maybe in time, maybe there will be some maybe change that will allow maybe for Tipperary, where our intermediate champions have no avenue to go forward after that. Something that we wish Newport the best of luck for that. That is coming up.
Fair play, that's a great idea.
The 14th and the 21st of February, and I think the final a week after that as well. So yeah, busy times in the schools hurling, and my thanks to Gary for joining me on Gary Toohey for joining me on the show. We'll just let him go now. I'm going to wrap up with a few other bits of Camogie and Gaelic football. Gary, thanks for joining us.
No worries, Shane. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Gary Toohey there of Clubber TV. Just reflecting back on last weekend in terms of Gaelic football, we'll have Anthony Shelley on next week to reflect on Tips opening 2 rounds of the National Football League, a draw against away to London. And then considering London went to Longford and won pretty well. So like that draw is not looking too bad now. And then they backed it up, beating Antrim last weekend. But I see Antrim, one of their key players has pulled out even 2 rounds into the league. Maybe things aren't going well in Antrim, but Tipperary won't mind. 3 points out of 4 heading into their first weekend off, and then they come back on Sunday week with a huge game now against Carlow, who have started brilliantly. They had a surprise win over Wicklow, and Carlow also beat Antrim as well away from home. So, and Carlow are really flying it there. It looks like they're going to be maybe the team that could be challenging with Wicklow to go up. So like that's a huge game for them. We'll reflect on that with Anthony next week. And also we have to talk about the Tip Minor Camogie team. Brilliant start to their All-Ireland Championship, beating the Munster champions Cork by 2 points in Thurles last Sunday. Brilliant start for them, like off the back of losing to Limerick in the first round and Munster semi-final. That Limerick team lost to Cork in the Munster final. So it just shows you that Tip are right in this, and like they have they have another 3 games to go in the round robin, and they're in a good shape to get to definitely contend for the All-Ireland. Like there's very even teams there. Kilkenny, they have to play Limerick as well. Galway always strong, so but it's a great start for them. There's no minor championship this weekend. It's the All-Ireland semi-finals in the post-primary schools, and Thurles is it the Ursuline in Thurles are up in Antrim for their semi-final. I got the fixture here now. They're away up in Antrim for their All-Ireland semi-final this weekend, and the minor championship gets back into action on the Sunday the 15th of February. Tip are hosting Kilkenny, and that weekend we'll also see the start of the National Camogie League. Tipperary starting away to Antrim, and we'll have a look at, we'll preview their campaign next week. So the panel has been confirmed, and it's great to see the likes of Claudia Quirk back from injury. Nicole Walsh is recommitted now for another year, so there's definitely a bit of strength there. And Cuevas Declan up from minor level, like she's a real talent. So like I would think Tipperary under new manager James Heffernan really looking to kick on this year and probably hopefully contend with Galway and Cork, who are definitely setting the trend in terms of camogie at the moment, and maybe contend for an All-Ireland there, or contend with silverware as the year goes on. So that is about it for this week's show. Definitely been a busy one here on TippCast, as we had Noel Dundon on earlier looking ahead to the reflecting on the National League win over Offaly and looking ahead to the Cork game. So Gary reflecting on Gary Toohey reflecting on Nina's CBS's big win in the Harty Cup. My thanks to both gentlemen. We'll be back next week for another edition of TippCast.